Hey guys, Zach from Say What Zach here. Tonight's action for hockey is over, so we're going to go ahead and get in the reviews. This is for Wednesday, January 22nd. Only 2 NHL games, so we're going to do NHL and AHL combined to make it one video so you guys don't have to watch 2 different videos. Or if you do want to just watch National Hockey League, just watch the first 2. Be done. If you just want American Hockey League, skip over the first 2 and jump over into the American Hockey League. So, a couple of quick little notes in case you didn't see earlier. I have updated this. We have all new stickers. They're all matching now. So we got all the Topps 1920 sticker logos. So we got all those cut into magnets, bam, up on the board. The black is are the teams in the playoffs. Yeah, you guys can see that on the screen. And the red are the teams outside the playoffs. So you guys kind of have an idea of who's in the playoffs, who's not. Then obviously the American Hockey League, it's the top 4 of each division. So there you go. That's where you can kind of tell the difference in the playoffs on each board every night. So, that being said, let's get into these 2 NHL games. The first one, we're going to go with Columbus and Winnipeg for the first game, even though this is the better of the 2 games. Columbus, they are now on a 6-game winning streak. Thanks to Elvis and the way they've been playing, this team has been awesome. They have proven that they are playoff bound, it looks like. This way the team is playing is, again, beyond belief. I would never guess they would have been where they are right now if you asked me at the beginning of the season, which we did a video at the beginning of the season. Again, didn't pick them. So, your goal scorers. Appleton scores the second at 4:38 the first from Perot and Spiza for the Winnipeg Jets. Then there was a lot of back and forth. So, next, Jones scores his 5th of the season at 6:06 of the first from Foligno and Dubois, sorry. So, 1-1 in the first. Then Kyle Connor scores his 25th. I didn't realize he had 25 goals. He's having a pretty good year. If you guys haven't kept track, his 30 goals should be pretty easy at this point. 17:06 of the first from Benito and Spiza. So, Spiza with 2 assists, making it 2-0 or 2-1 end of the first period. So, a lot of 1 goal for Winnipeg, 1 goal for Columbus, 1 goal for Winnipeg, 1 goal for Columbus. Because the next one is Bjorkstrand with his 15th at 1:28 of the second period from Dubois. So Dubois with 2 assists. Oliver Bjorkstrand, 2nd game back, his 4th goal. He's having a pretty good run. Then Panik scores his 5th at 15:33 the second from Wheeler and Connor. So Kyle Connor with a goal and assist. He's having, again, a pretty good year. And again, the Winnipeg Jets take the lead 3-2 at this point. But it wouldn't be done. Nyquist scores his 11th at 17:55 the second from Dubois and Werenski. So, Dubois, 3 assists in this game. He's having a pretty good game. And this Columbus Blue Jackets team is just resilient. They do not give up at any point in this game. If you give them any inch, they will take it. That is what we're learning about the Columbus Blue Jackets right now. And then Bjorkstrand scores his 16th at 14:22 the third from Seth Jones. So, Bjorkstrand now with 5 goals in 2 games, I believe it is. Not bad for his comeback. I believe he had 3 goals and a hat-trick in the game against Florida. I believe it was. Could be wrong. Sorry, could be 4. Pretty sure it's 5, though. But yeah, Bjorkstrand's been lights out since he's been back in 2 games. And then Jones, the all-star, gets a goal and an assist. You got some, yeah. And that's your final 4-3. The Blue Jackets, again, they're kicking butt, and the Jets are definitely struggling. They are tied with the Blackhawks, still above them. But yeah, they need to figure out something, because right now the Jets are definitely falling. Your 3 stars are Bjorkstrand, Pierre-Luc Dubois, and Seth Jones. Those are your 3 stars of the game. Your shots on goal are 29-30 in favor of the Jets. Obviously, didn't matter that much because they were down by 1. Maybe if they would have got 31, they could have beaten them. I doubt it. Again, Elvis has been playing very good in that goal, and I like saying Elvis because it's a unique name. Anyways. Columbus gets a big win. They do leapfrog, because we're not going to go into the standings as much. You guys can see it right here. They do leapfrog Carolina with up to 60 points. So they're only 1 point back of the New York Islanders now for 3rd in this division. 1 point back. And all these teams are going on break, on their all-star break, and then their bye weeks, I believe, after this. They're 1 point ahead Carolina at 61, and now 2 points ahead of Philadelphia. So Columbus is going in their bye week, sitting pretty nicely. So like I said, most of these teams are not playing during their bye week, so they don't really have to worry about other teams jumping them too much. Other game of the night. We went to the viewing party for this downtown Detroit at the Motor City Casino Hotel. I posted a couple of pictures from it. It was an okay event. There used to be a lot more interaction, a lot of more giveaways. Kind of definitely tell it's downgraded. Then they had this commercial running, so the Red Wings obviously aren't doing very well if you watch hockey right now. They have, and a lot of people aren't going to the games. I know a lot of fans that just aren't willing to go to the games. It's not really worth it. Spending, if you want to get against the glass, you're talking like $300 to go sit against the glass, and that's resale. But that's someone else selling it back to you. So a lot of people aren't going. So they had a commercial play every commercial break, or every other commercial break, of Steve Yzerman, your general manager now, asking the fans to come down to the rink and help support the team. And they have this new season ticket plan package they're launching to help try and get people to buy season tickets, because a lot of people I know that had season tickets, because I've been going to a lot of doctor's appointments lately, a lot of them used to have season tickets but don't want to pay for it anymore. They feel it's not worth it. So as the team's being bad, you can tell that they're just starting to get desperate, because they're asking for people, they're having general manager Steve Yzerman come on to commercials and asking people to please keep coming to the rink and buy season ticket plans, because they're trying to put a good team on the ice. That to me just screams desperate. I wasn't a big fan of that commercial, so that was my least favorite part, probably next to them trying to sing Neil Diamond with some rapping beat behind it. It just did not work at all. Anyways, the viewing party was more fun to watch than it was to take in the game. That aside, Wild and the Detroit Red Wings, in case you didn't know what I was talking about, which is why I'm wearing a Minnesota jersey. Wild won this one 4-2. No surprise, Red Wings lost. It's what happens. We're used to it. But it started out good. Zadina gets a lucky bounce off of a stick of, I think it was Eriksson Ek in front of the net. Bounces in, goes in the net. He's trying to pass it over to, I think, Larkin. Oh, no. Who was he trying to pass it to? Blanking on who he was trying to pass it to. He was trying to pass it across the net, and it hit Eriksson Ek's stick and goes into the net, giving the Red Wings a 1-0 lead. So Zadina scores the 7th at 3:08 of the first period from Larkin and Daly. So that is turning good. Again, seeing Zadina get points is always good. I like to see him gain that confidence. That's good to see. But that was short-lived. Greenway gets his 6th at 4:28 from Duba. So again, they get that lucky bounce, and then the Minnesota Wild come back and score right back. But towards the end of the first period, Zadina gets a 2nd of the game, his 8th, at 16:39 of the first from Daly and Filppula, who's coming close to that 1,000-game mark. So Zadina has 2 goals on the night and looking like he could possibly go for 3. We'll see. I was kind of hoping to get the hat trick. It'd be kind of interesting and cool to see him finally get that hat trick. Fortunately, it doesn't happen. Zuccarello would score his 13th at 1:12 of the second period from Stahl and Dumba. And then Zucker would score his 14th at 2:19 of the second from Raskin Fiala. And everything was right in the world. The Minnesota Wild took the lead back, and then they add one more to make sure they kept it. Stahl scores his 17th at 11:39 of the second from Parise and Zuccarello. No goals in the third. The Red Wings lose again. No surprise there. Your 3 stars of the game are Stahl, Zuccarello, and Dumba. Your shots on net are 33-27 in favor of the Wild. And again, Red Wings lose. No surprise. Everyone could have guessed it. I put the winners up. I put these minutes up before I left for the viewing party, just to see if I get it right. Got them both right. The Wild gained 2 points. They move slightly closer to a playoff spot, but very unlikely. I know they are talking about shopping Matt Dumba at the trade deadline. So, yeah, I think they're going to definitely be looking more to be sellers and buyers for the Wild. But those are 2 NHL games. Not a whole lot of movement in the standings, so I kind of just went over the big thing, which was Columbus over here. And again, if you want to see the rest, you got it right here. It's all laid out for you. We're moving on to the American Hockey League now. So, again, if you guys don't care about it, you can tune out right now, or you can keep watching. So, 9 minutes in, not bad. Have all the scores and the goal scores up here, and the board is updated. So, we have Providence taking on the Phantoms. So, Phantoms, again, I'm a big fan of Philadelphia Flyers. Cheering for the Phantoms to maybe make a last-minute push. I doubt they'll make the Calder Cup playoffs, but we can always hope. They play against Providence. Providence, and unfortunately, wins this one 3-2 in a shootout. Your goal scorers are Chris Coolo at 9:50 the first for the Phantoms. Then Steen scores at 16:55 the first for Providence, and it's 1-1 after 1. No scoring in the second period, but we go into the third. Case scores at 2:47 the third, giving the Phantoms a 2-1 lead very early in the third period. But the Providence Bruins come back. And Senshian scores at 14:01 of the third for Providence, giving them the 2-2 tie going to overtime. That doesn't settle it. They go to a shootout. Providence wins. So kind of a big loss for the Phantoms, but they do gain a point. Again, if they can keep just accumulating points, they have a chance at the Calder Cup playoffs this year. I'm hoping they do make it. They're a team I do like it, with the Wolves and the Griffins. Next up, the Rochester Americans, the Cleveland Monsters. Rochester, you listened. You won a game. You're starting to... You've stopped the bleeding. Hopefully, we'll see them turn this around, and this will be good for the team to moving forward. Because again, if they would have lost tonight, that would have been not good. They would have been tied with the Rockets, and you don't want to drop too much further. They stopped it. They get 2 big points. Good for the Americans. They win this one 3-2 over the Cleveland Monsters in overtime. So you have Ali scoring at 3:44 the first for Rochester, and then Middlestat scores at 16:54 the first for Rochester, and it's 2-0 after 1. Middlestat scoring, awesome news for anyone who's a Rochester Americans fan and anyone who's a Buffalo Sabres fan. You want to see Casey Middlestat score because he is supposed to be a very highly sought after prospect, and he has not been that so far. In the second, McInnes scores at 9:11 of the second for Cleveland, and then Deneau scores at 6:27 of the third for Cleveland, making it 2-2 at that point after 3. So they go to overtime. Pitlet scores Pulut, I don't know. Scores at 3:24 of overtime for Rochester Americans, give them a 3-2 overtime win. They gain 2 points they desperately needed to stay in that third position. Cleveland gets a big point. Again, they're not quite out of it. They're sitting 8 points out of playoff spot. So it's still doable. We'll see how they do this weekend, because Friday, Saturday, they play against the Toronto Marlies. Back-to-back games. Those are big games this weekend. Glad we're going to one of them. We might try and catch both of them. We'll see how we feel Saturday. Next up, the Grand Rapids Griffins are playing against Iowa. The Griffins, they get the win. They win 4-3 in the shootout. Thank God. I'm so glad to see the Griffins getting some points and pulling closer and making the Wolves and the Griffins have to really battle it out, which would be awesome, because I'd be happy if they both make it. It'd be kind of cool. Anyways, their scoring plays. Mayhew scores at 4:01 of the first for Iowa, and then Spiza, which I'm not sure who this is. I've never heard of him before. He may have been called up. Now with Dennis Chalowski getting moved up to the Red Wings, I'm guessing he's one of the defensemen they brought up for the Griffins. I have not seen this, so he's a guy I did not know about. Spezza at 16:25 the first scores for Grand Rapids, tying it 1-1 after 1. In the second, 12 seconds in. 12 seconds. I thought, wow, that was really quick. That must be one of the fastest goals scored. Don't worry, there's another one that scored much quicker. You'll see that in a second. Turgeon scores at 12 seconds into the second for Grand Rapids, making it 2-1 after 2. And then Ennis scores at 5:45 of the third from Iowa. And then Mayhew scores at 16:19 of the third for Iowa, making it 3-2 at that point. But Grand Rapids is not done. Terry scores at 19:03 of the third. Last minute of the game, they score, force overtime. Nothing happens in overtime. They go to the shootout. Griffins win, get 2 big points. Iowa still gets a point. They don't need it as bad, but they stay within 10 of the Milwaukee Admirals, making them kind of be like, oh, hey, you guys are there. I'm not going to say sweat, because, again, 10 points, again, you got the division. But anyways, Griffins get 2 big points. They needed 1 point back to the Wolves and the Stars for their playoff spot. Next up, we got the Rockets and Syracuse. The Rockets get 2 points tonight they do need, and again, that's why the Americans are lucky they won this one, or they would have been tied in points, possibly been overtaken by points. I haven't looked at the total overall records, but yeah, it would have been good if they would have lost. Anyways, the Rockets win 3-2 in the overtime against Syracuse. Your goal scoring plays. Smith scores at 6:26 of the first for Syracuse, and then Verdimo scores at 7:32 of the first for the Rockets, and then Radish, I like his name, Radish, I think it's Reddish, but still, fun name, I'd call him Radish, at 19:39 of the first for Syracuse. So after 1, it's 2-1 for Syracuse. You think Syracuse might have this, but Syracuse doesn't score again for the rest of the game. Verone scores at 10:07 of the second for the Rockets, and that is your last scoring play in regulation. They force overtime. Evans scores 6 seconds into overtime. So you thought 12 seconds was fast. Try 6 seconds into overtime for the Rockets. They win that one 3-2. Big win for the Rockets. Like I said, Syracuse does get a point. A lot of overtime games to start. The last few games aren't, but the first 4, all overtime or shootout. Very, very surprising by that one. Next up, you got the Devils taking on Utica Comets. The Devils win 5-3. Big win for the Devils. Mainly playing spoilers a little bit at this point. Maybe they're about 8 points back as well. Same as the Monsters, so maybe playing spoilers. Definitely can't hurt to get a win. You know what I mean? So your scoring plays. McEwen scores at 14:06 for the first for Utica. And then Jancic scores at 16:55 of the first for Utica, making 2-0 for Utica after 1. Then Goldobin scores at 2:33 of the second for Utica, making 3-0. And that's when you're like, okay, Utica's probably got this. Not so fast. The Devils come storming back. Senny scores at 7:13 of the second for the Devils. Boquist scores at 9:29 of the second for the Devils. In the third, they make it 3-2 at that point. In the third, Anderson 6:07 of the third, and then Badak scores at 13:05 of the third, making it 4-3. And then Anderson scores at 19:43 of the third to win it 5-3 for the Devils. So Devils make a huge comeback, being down 3-0 to score 5 unanswered goals. Big win for the Devils. On to the next one, Texas and Stars and the Rockford Ice Hogs. Big loss for the Ice Hogs. Big win for Texas again. Very tight division from third place down. Every point counts, especially in division. So the only goal scorer in this one is Tuftle, I'm going to say, at 4:25 the second for Texas. That's your only goal. Again, Texas gets a big win over the Ice Hogs. Good for them. On to Springfield and Hershey. Springfield gets a big win. Again, they are still fighting for playoff lights right now. They are 1 point out of a playoff spot now with this win. They win 5-2 over Hershey and a division rival on top of that, so they do pull within 5 of the division lead. Ames scores at 3:25 the first for Springfield, and then Serrero scores at 13:20 of the first for Springfield, making it 2-0. In the second, Audette scores at 15:14 of the second for Springfield, and Ames scores a second of the game at 16:24 of the second, making it 4-0. At that point, again, you're thinking, maybe this game's over. Springfield has this. Hershey doesn't let them get off the hook easy, though. Alexiev scores at 1:46 of the third for Hershey, and then Millet scores at 17:17 of the third to make it 4-2. Unfortunately, that's as far as their comeback would go, because Tippett scores at 19:25 of the third for Springfield, making it the 5-2 final that you see on the board. So there is your final for that game. And the last game of the night that just ended, ended probably about 20 minutes ago now as of this recording. Bakersfield beats San Jose 5-0. Bakersfield is, again, fighting for their playoff lives, so I'm not surprised that San Jose loses that one. And playoff lives being making the playoffs, not actually playing in the playoffs, in case you didn't realize what I meant. Hebig scores at 7:53 of the first. Oh yeah, for Bakersfield. I was like, why didn't I put who scored it? It was 5-0. Bakersfield has all the goals if you didn't know. Then Benson scores at 17:54 of the second. Gambrella, I'm going to say that one, is at 8:14 of the third. Markasov scores at 16:59 of the third, and Pelso scores at 19:32 of the third, all for Bakersfield. They got some fun names to try and pronounce. Sorry if I said those wrong. I'm going to mispronounce names. Sorry. But that's 5-0 for Bakersfield. They get a big win. San Jose loses again and stays at the bottom of the league for a little bit longer. Anyways, those are all your scores for the NHL, American Hockey League. Let's go into the standings for the American Hockey League. Wolfpack still at top, 55. Hershey, 55. 52 for the Bruins, and this is the Atlantic Division. Sorry, I didn't say that. Checkers are at 51. Springfield at 50. Penguins are at 45. Phantoms at 42. Sound Tigers at 35. In the North, Comets are at 54. Senators at 54. Americans at 50. Rockets at 48. Toronto Marlies at 46. Syracuse Crunch at 45. Devils at 40. Monsters at 40. So again, if the Monsters can take both these games against the Marlies, that'll pull them within 2 points of the Marlies. Big games this weekend for the Monsters. Over in the Central, Milwaukee 64. Wild with 54. The Wolves with 45. Stars with 44. Griffins with 44. Ice Hogs 42. Moose are 40. And Rampage at 38. And the Pacific, 57 points for Tucson, 43 for Stockton, Colorado 46, Ontario 41, Bakersfield 39, San Diego 38, and San Jose 31. Hope I didn't go through that too fast for you. Don't want to make this super long if I can. Try and keep it at 20 minutes max. So there are all your standings for the American Hockey League after tonight's action, all your scores that I went over, and your National Hockey League standings. This is Zach from Stay with Zach here. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos, enjoyed hockey tonight. We have the All-Star games coming up. this weekend. I'm super excited to do some commentary and doing some reviews from Cleveland for you guys. If you guys like the content, give us a like and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching everything that we do, and I hope to continue to do better and make better content and continue to bring you fun stuff to watch. Again, I will talk to you guys again very soon.